Before we speak, we already speak. Before we explain, we already declare. There is a language older than words, one that shapes how others perceive us before we say a single thing. It is posture, stillness, eye contact, energy, breath, intention. This is the power of presence. And presence is not reserved for the charismatic or the extroverted. It is not the loudest voice or the biggest personality. True presence is quiet, but undeniable. It doesn't demand attention. It invites it. It doesn't chase validation. It radiates certainty. The people who move us the most often say the least. They walk into a room and shift the atmosphere. Not through domination, but through grounded clarity. They speak through how they stand, how they listen, how they hold space. And in a world that talks constantly, the rarest influence is silent. The moment you enter a room, before you smile, before you greet anyone, something happens. People feel you, not in a mystical way, in a nervous system way. We are wired to detect safety, trust, authenticity. The nervous system picks up subtle cues long before the brain rationalizes them. Is this person grounded? Is this person congruent? Do they make my body feel relaxed or tense? Your presence, your internal state, leaks into your external reality. When you're anxious, you don't have to announce it. It travels in your shoulders, your breath, your eyes. When you're peaceful, others feel safe. They don't know why, but they lean in. This is why people remember how you made them feel more than what you said, because your energy is the message. Real influence begins not with charisma, but with self-possession. We think the most influential people are those who control others, but in truth, they are the ones who master themselves. They are anchored. They know who they are. They are not easily shaken by judgment, praise, or pressure. This is what makes them magnetic. Because in a world of people constantly performing, their authenticity is arresting. You don't need to prove anything when you're grounded. You don't need to dominate when you're cantered. People trust those who trust themselves. And trust is the true currency of influence. There's a kind of silence that isn't passive. It isn't awkward. It isn't empty. It's intentional. When you pause before you speak, people listen. When you listen fully before replying, people respect you. In negotiation, in leadership, in connection, silence is a tool. Those who are not afraid of silence hold power. Because silence creates space, and space allows meaning to rise. Most people rush to fill the gap, but those who don't need to speak to be seen hold a quiet authority. We train ourselves to speak persuasively, but rarely to look persuasively. Your face is the most honest thing about you. It tells the truth your words may try to hide. Micro-expressions, tension, softness, presence. Warmth can be felt in the eyes, safety in the softness of the jaw, curiosity in the way the brow lifts. When you meet someone's gaze, not to intimidate, but to connect, you say something powerful. I see you, and I'm not afraid to be seen. Eye contact is not about control, it's about openness, and people follow those who are emotionally open. You can read a person's confidence in how they stand, open chest, balanced stance, still hands, not frozen, not exaggerated, just relaxed alertness. When your body says, I belong here, others believe you. This isn't arrogance, it's alignment. It's a body that isn't fighting itself. It's a nervous system that says, I am safe in this moment. Practice walking into rooms with this awareness. Not puffed up, not shrunk down, just rooted, and watch how the room shifts. There is a difference between talking and speaking. Talking is reactive. It fills space. Speaking is intentional. It shapes space. People who speak with presence do something subtle but powerful. They take their time. They are not in a hurry to be understood, because they understand themselves. They choose words like an artist chooses color, and in doing so, they invite the listener into reflection. Fast talk may impress, but slow truth influences. Nothing builds connection like being fully heard, and nothing is rarer than a person who actually listens, not to respond, not to correct, but to understand. Presence means being with someone fully. No phone, no performance, no mental checklist, just you, me, and this moment. When you listen like that, people open up. They trust you. They soften. They reveal things even they didn't know they needed to say. Because in your presence, they feel safe enough to be real. That is influence. In heated moments, the most powerful person is the calmest. Not detached, not avoidant, but composed. Stillness in conflict is rare, because most people match energy with energy, but presence allows you to stay rooted when others react. You hold the temperature of the space, you become the grounding cord in the storm, and because you don't escalate, others begin to regulate. That's real leadership. There are moments when no speech can convey what the soul needs to express. Comfort, reverence, grace, forgiveness. These are not things you say. They are things you become. Presence is transmission. And the more inner alignment you cultivate, the more your very being becomes a message. It's in the way you sit beside someone in pain, in the silence you keep during someone's joy. You don't just show up. You arrive with your whole self, and your presence becomes a balm. Presence isn't reserved for big moments. It's forged in the small ones. How you eat, how you breathe, how you walk from one room to another. Are you in your body or in your thoughts? Are you connected to now or lost in then? The more you train presence in the mundane, the more it becomes natural in the monumental. You don't need to strive for it. You need to return to it. Presence is not something you perform. It's something you remember, and once you do, you carry it with you everywhere. In the end, influence is not how many follow you. It's how deeply you affect those around you. It is not about volume. It is about vibration. When your presence is calm, others breathe easier. When your presence is real, others feel safer. When your presence is steady, others find their center. You become the anchor. You become the example. You become the change you wish they would be. And that is how you lead. Not by force, not by flash, but by being fully here. This is the power of presence. And it begins with you. Presence doesn't begin or end in a single moment. It unfolds. It deepens. It's a lifelong practice of returning to yourself. What happens after the room notices you? After the stillness settles? After the space opens? Now, the question becomes, can you stay present in the discomfort? Can you hold yourself steady when everything around you is unsteady? This is where presence becomes not just influence, but a form of healing, for you and for others. In every group, someone regulates the emotional temperature, often unconsciously. When stress enters, it spreads like static electricity. One person's panic becomes everyone's panic, but the rare person, the anchored one, becomes the nervous system for the room. They breathe when others hold their breath. They slow down when others speed up. They stay open when others close. This is not easy. It requires discipline, not dominance. Compassion, not control. When you become the regulator, people feel it. They feel safer, more connected, more seen. Not because you fixed the problem, but because you didn't become the problem. Words lie, tone manipulates, but the body never forgets how to speak truth. When you walk into a room, your body is already talking. It says, I am welcome here, or I shouldn't be here. It says, I trust myself, or I hope no one sees through me. True presence is when the body and the story it tells are aligned. This means tending to your body like a sacred instrument, breathing with it, moving with it, resting it, honoring it. Because your nervous system is not just yours, it's contagious. Your peace is felt in your gait, your clarity in your posture, your integrity in your stillness. You don't need to say, I'm confident. If your body believes it, others will too. Where you place your attention determines what grows. Most people scatter their attention. Phone, memory, projection. Insecurity. What they want to say next. But those who can offer full attention hold immense power, because they create space for others to exist fully. Imagine sitting with someone who is not distracted, not performing, not comparing, just fully with you. In that kind of space, people reveal their truest selves, not because they're asked to, but because they're finally allowed to. Attention is leadership, and presence is where that leadership begins. The real test of presence is not peace, it's pressure. Anyone can be calm in a calm room, but can you remain calm when someone yells, criticizes, misunderstands you, pushes you away? Most people flinch, defend, withdraw. But when you can stay present in discomfort, you become something rare, a mirror without distortion. You reflect what's real without reacting. You allow space for others to see themselves, even if they don't like what they see. This is not passive, it is powerful. To stay in your body when the mind screams to escape is an act of leadership. And the more discomfort you can hold without collapsing, the more you become a refugee for others. Safety isn't just about words like, you're okay, or I'm here. It's about tone, stillness, breath, timing. You can say, I love you with a nervous system full of fear, and the body won't believe it. But when your energy is regulated, people feel it in your presence. Your very being says, you don't have to protect yourself right now. This is how true leaders operate. They don't just lead with strategy, they lead with safety. A calm presence invites truth. It softens shame. It dissolves defense. And sometimes the most healing thing you can offer is simply your steadiness. Presence isn't always about doing. It's often about what you don't do, what you don't say, what you don't escalate. There is great power in restraint, to not prove your point, to not fight back, to not insert yourself when silence would be more loving. This isn't weakness, it's wisdom, because true power is never frantic. It doesn't need to win every moment. It knows that most transformation happens in the space between words. When you choose stillness instead of reaction, you leave space for grace to arrive. To be present with others, you must first be present with yourself. This means feeling your own emotions without fleeing, sitting with your own silence without reaching for distraction. We often lose ourselves in the chaos of others, in caretaking, in performing, in trying to belong, but you cannot offer presence from depletion. You offer it from overflow. Return to yourself, again and again, in quiet mornings, in long walks, in moments between tasks. Anchor in your breath. Feel your own heartbeat. Remember, you're allowed to be a full human before you are anything to anyone else. We live in a world of half-presence, a world of constant alerts, endless scrolling, digital noise. To be truly present now is revolutionary. It requires intention. Turn off the phone when you speak to someone. Look at their eyes, not your screen. Listen without searching for the next dopamine hit. Digital connection is not evil, but it is no substitute for embodied presence. The irony is, the more virtually connected we become, the more starved we are for real presence. Be the antidote, not by withdrawing from the world, but by choosing to show up fully in it. Presence isn't always remembered consciously, but it is always felt. Someone may not recall your name, your job, or your words, but they will remember how they felt in your presence. They'll remember feeling seen, feeling safe, feeling inspired to be more themselves. This is the invisible legacy of presence. It ripples outward quietly, leaving sacred imprints in the places you've been. You don't need to leave monuments. You only need to leave moments of realness. And that is enough to change lives. In the end, presence is more than influence. It is communion with life, with others, with your own soul. It's a spiritual discipline dressed as everyday awareness. It's showing up for the miracle of this moment, without trying to change it, when you walk slowly, when you listen deeply, when you breathe intentionally. You enter into union with the now, and in that union, you no longer need to chase meaning, you become meaning. Presence is not a skill you master, it is a state you remember, a way of being that turns the ordinary into sacred. And when you live like that, you don't just influence others, you transform them. The most powerful people don't rush. They don't beg to be noticed. They don't leave chaos behind them. They leave clarity. They leave warmth. They leave steadiness. And long after they've gone, the room still remembers. The people still breathe easier. The space still feels sacred. That is the legacy of presence. And it is available to you right here, right now. No words required. Subscribe to the Thought Foundry. Take care of your mind, and I'll see you in the next dive.